KX News Storm Team.
Welcome back to KX News at 10. I'm meteorologist Michael Gonzalez, and congratulations, North Dakota. We've ripped the Band-Aid off and gotten off to the races with snow for this coming fall and winter. Here's a look at some of the snow reports that we received across the state. Leading the pack was the Crosby area with 5.5 inches of snow. Pretty good amount, but that was pretty isolated across much of the rest of the region. 2.5 inches there at Lignite, and then a handful of locations with about 1 inch to 2 inches. But this was our first widespread accumulating snowfall of the season so far. We'll take a look at the accumulating snowfall map. This is, of course, just an estimation based on radar estimates and computer models, but it looks like a good swath of central and northwestern North Dakota received about 1 inch to 2 inches, a few isolated pockets of 2 to 3 inches, but it was a pretty good evening and overnight last night of some snowfall. The only area that really missed out was over towards Dickinson and southwestern North Dakota, where the temperatures just remained a little bit too on the warm side while precipitation was falling. And just mapping on some of the observations really quickly onto this map, you can see a lot of this 1 to 2 inch reports were received over in the Minot region, with of course that Crosby report up there near 5.5 inches. Of course, this is just going to be the first inch of about, say, 50 or 60 more inches to come over the next several months. This is the average snowfall that we can typically expect in North Dakota over the course of an entire winter based on data from the last 15 to 20 years. So there's a lot more of what we just had today on the way, eventually at least. Right now the radar has just about emptied out, just a few clouds drifting across the region. We can actually zoom out and see where that storm system is right now that brought us that snowfall yesterday. That's down right now in Illinois, and it's been bringing a whole track of snow across much of South Dakota and parts of Iowa, but of course that is well out of our area for the time being. And right now, in fact, we have a high pressure system that's beginning to drift its way into North Dakota from Saskatchewan, and that is going to be what makes things so cold tonight. The temperatures are already dropping into the single digits thanks to this high pressure system, which is going to help calm down the winds eventually tonight and into tomorrow. It's really the core of a cold air mass as that makes its way across to the south. And if we zoom out, we can also see that we're underneath a pretty large trough across much of the central and eastern United States. But the good news is, knowing that the jet stream and the systems generally move from west to east, we do have this ridge that's positioned out across much of the western United States. And this bodes well for later this coming week. Temperatures are eventually going to warm up. We will get above freezing here in the next 36 hours, and eventually we might even see some highs in the 50s. For the time being, of course, though, we are dealing with these teens and even single digits across the region right now. Garrison down there at 9, Crosby at 7 above right now. So I'd hazard to say that swimsuit season is over right now. And wind chills are down in the single digits, with even a few spots feeling like they're below zero, -4 there at Garrison, -2 at Crosby. So it's feeling really crisp. If you are going to be going outside at any point during the next 12 to 24 hours, you're definitely going to want to put on a good bit of layers. Tonight, actual air temperatures are going to drop down well into the teens with some single digits, especially across the far north. And wind chills, of course, will be around the 0 degree mark. And tomorrow we will be warming up to right around the freezing mark with generally mostly clear skies and lighter winds, so it'll feel a little bit warmer than it did today. And of course, we're done with any snow flurries or anything of that sort. Notice out west, we're going to see temperatures approach the 40 degree mark, and that's really a little taste of what's to come as we get towards Monday and later into the week. As those high temperatures begin to slowly but surely approach the 50 degree mark, it'll be a little slower to warm up across the central part of North Dakota, but over towards the west, we are going to be back in those mid-50s perhaps by Monday afternoon. We are going to watch this ridge slowly begin to build its way up across the western U.S. and into the central United States. And that means that by the time we get to Tuesday and Wednesday, we are going to have highs well into those 50s perhaps. So Williston's next 5 days is going to be going from about freezing tomorrow to the lower 50s by Monday and Tuesday, and then Thursday perhaps 58 degrees. And Dickinson just about the same, warming up really quickly from 34 there on Sunday to 54 on Monday, and then generally in the low to mid 50s by the time we get to the middle of the week. And Minot just about the same, with a really quick warm up as we get into your Veterans Day, with highs generally around the 50 degree mark by the time we get to Wednesday and Thursday. And Bismarck, very similar, very crispy for tomorrow, but then warming up at least by the time we get to the middle of this coming work week. Tyler?
Crispy, just like you said, Michael. Thank you much. I appreciate it. Coming up next in sports, the Final Four team